Hi, my name is Carla Henry Lewis, and I am your relationship doula. I help women before and after marriage bravely birth peace in the pieces of their lives. I have a wonderful opportunity often to meet different people with different occupations. And so recently I met a farmer. So I want to say shout out to all the farmers out there who we as consumers sometimes take it for granted how our food actually gets to the table. I remember as a child, my father's always kept a garden. And I still remember he had a cornfield on a church member's property, Mr. Brown, and we would go there after school and on the weekends. Or he'll just stop there after work to check on his corn, different crops he would have, as they were shucking corn and see these little bugs, little worms on there. But anyway, I just always remember that with my dad. And so I recently met a farmer, and he's a hay farmer, but he also has some cattle that he raises as well. But one of the things that I found very interesting there with this ladies, and I'm going to make some analogies, and I think you're really going to have those aha moments and those ouch moments and those kind of moments, but hang in there with me. So the type of grass that he grows for the hay is called Bermuda grass, and it's the pasture seed produces the most commonly used pasture grass for livestock grazing and hay production. And you can find that throughout the Southeast. And I happen to live in Alabama, so that is what he is raising. And so as we're talking, he mentions that there are two things that causes harm to his Bermuda grass. And the two things were the Bermuda stem maggots and the armyworm. So you know what, guys? I'm a visual person, so I actually have a picture of that I'm going to share with you as we talk about these two things here and how it can apply to us. So here we have what it looks like, the Bermuda stem maggot. So we see it in its fly form, because one of the things I would like for you ladies to learn is to be able to recognize an apple seed, an apple in its seed form, just like we need to recognize destructive behavior in its seed form. We don't need to wait until it actually bears fruit or that it becomes this worm or maggot in our lives where it's just causing destruction for us to recognize it, but being able to recognize it early and taking those steps to do something. So this is the picture of the Bermuda grass stem maggot fly that lays the egg for the maggot. And you can see the picture is smaller than a dime. It's really small. You would think, oh, it can't cause that much harm. How many times do we say that when it pertains to some relationships that we're in? Oh, he didn't mean anything by that, or she didn't mean anything by that. So here in the next slide, and I got that first picture from the Koki, the blog extension for UGA Education. And so now this picture here is from the Northwest District. So I wanted you to see the fly and now see the maggot that is laid from the egg of this fly. This is the Bermuda stem maggot, and that can create havoc on a hayfield because, as the farmer pointed out to me, he says that maggot, those eggs, once they're laid, it really just goes to, bores into the plant, and then it actually eats it, and it stops the growth from occurring. So from all intents and purposes, you think the field is growing, but it's actually kilted and it will slowly turn brown. And the below the grass, they will try to grow, but basically this maggot is just eating it from the inside out. It's dying. And how many of us as women, we're dying in plain sight? You know, everybody else looks and sees us from the outside and think, oh, she's so cute, she's so fine, she got a good man, he got a good woman, and you're just dying inside because there's an infestation in your field. And so the other one that I wanted to show you was the armyworm. So here, and this one is from this website, ACES, I think it's the Auburn Extension Education one, Alabama Corporate Extension System. So here we have the armyworm, and it's showing damage in a hay field where the caterpillars have eaten up the tender portions of the grass, leaving jagged edges. And how many of us in some relationships, that person has come in and torn you inside out. You are just worn out and whooped. But I wanted you to see the moth that lays the egg that turns into that. And here it is. This is the adult fall armyworm that you're seeing right there. And when you look at it, you think, oh, how could this do so much damage? But literally, it is damaging this field. The one thing that I found out about this as I was doing some additional research about these two plagues, or these two insects that just devastate the hay, this Bermuda grass for the farmer, was that, believe it or not, do you know that these things thrive in drought conditions? I want you to see this for me. And this is taken from the hayforage.com, an article there that I was reading. And I wanted you to read this with me because I thought, oh, this is so interesting. It says here, and right here in this paragraph, it says the amount of damage seems to be dependent on growing conditions as well as the point during regrowth when the fly lays their eggs. If they are favorable growing conditions with good soil, fertility, and moisture, the loss seems to have minimal impact on a dry matter field. However, ladies, listen, if forage production is limited by poor soil fertility and dry soil conditions, more damage can result. Ladies, I had an aha moment. I hope you're having that aha moment there with me too. So what that is saying, that if you have dry conditions, if you have low self-esteem, if you haven't learned to have a voice in your relationship, if you don't know what a healthy relationship looks like, you are susceptible. You don't have good moisture. You don't have a good ground. And therefore, these Bermuda grass stem maggots, those armyworms, will tear up your hay field. But it's not a lost cause, because these particular two pests, the armyworm and the Bermuda grass stem maggot, they need drought conditions. So the farmers don't have any control over when it's going to rain. So they are left up to the elements. We had a drought for a while in Alabama. And so he said to me, a normal pasture that would normally yield about 80 bales of hay, when this happens because of the drought and then these pests like the Bermuda stem maggot and the armyworm, a field that would normally have 80 bales of hay may only produce 40 bales of hay. So I kept thinking, women, how have you been shortchanged? How many years or time in your life you are not producing and becoming the best you that God created you to be because you have had drought situations. And so you may need some help to learn how to bring that balance, that soil pH balance back into your life. One of the things that the farmer told me is interesting. For his bale of hay that he harvests, he may charge or sell it for $45 to $57 depending. But lo and behold, this farmer actually buys peanut hay for his cattle. He said, I could actually get peanut hay cheaper for $30-something depending, or $40 for a bale of peanut hay, because he said it has more nutrients in there for his cattle. And I was thinking, those are just one of those facts for me that I thought was interesting. And so I just want you ladies to take the time to realize that there's so much that we can have in common with this hay field. What is your Bermuda stem maggot in your life? What is that armyworm looking like in your life? Sometimes we have to call things out. There's no shame in it. We've all done it. I was trying to show that picture again to you. But one of the things that I wanted to show you in the same article that I saw about the Bermuda the armyworm, is what do you do? So in this article, it says that if you scout early and try to find the caterpillars, the armyworms, when they were still small, you only have to treat a certain portion of your hayfield. So ladies, light bulb moment. If we take the time and identify it before it gets out of hand, we can limit the damage that occurs in our hayfield. And so you may have to scout out early and see and check it out, but I want you to take the time to do that, because I think it's worth investing in your life and in your resources, that your hayfield is not being ravished. So I want you to do that. You can leave in your comment section the different things that you've learned. What is your aha moment? But I'm Carla Henry Lewis, your relationship doula, and I help women before and after marriage bravely birth peace in the pieces of their lives. So tune in again as we just share different things that we can learn. But ladies, let's put some moisture. Let's spend some time on ourselves. Let's remove and change that drought condition so we can have a thriving hayfield where the maggots and the armyworm cannot thrive.